Hi. I had noticed that on your belt pack that has the label, that the sticky label that you put on the back, it said 10, but I followed the cable and it was plugged into your channel 12 of your mixer. And so that would cause some trouble right there. And so all your cables behind your wireless receivers, I noticed you put tape to hold them together to tidy it up, but that made it really hard to follow the wire because I'm wiggling the wire, but they're grouped up in this sticky tape, and so it couldn't slide through. I kind of like had to force it. It'd be better if you used Velcro, these Velcro strips. That way it'll hold the wires together, but yet you can wiggle the wires and follow them much more easily. Labeling and where the wires are going situation. And when I say check 1, 2, here I'll move this a little closer. My camera closer here. I'm going to talk into the mic. Check 1, 2, and I could see which receiver that's coming in on. Okay, so, and you told me that it was showing overload. Well, there's two things going on here. This is the audio. If the audio is overloading, which is the LED set on the right, it'll go into the red here. Check. You see, that's not good. You don't want, so that's audio overloading. There's a different aspect to this, and that is the RF. So you have audio and you have RF. And of course, each receiver has 2 antennas. You know, there's the antenna, one of the antennas for this guy. And it'll tell you which one it's on, so that's cool. But if this thing goes into the red, well, I'll show you how to adjust it. But for the audio, you don't want it to go into the red. This is the gain button, up and down. I can lower and raise that. So I'm holding the mic really close to my mouth. So if I was putting it like near my collar, it would be more like this. Check 1, 2, check 1, 2. And that's good as long as you're getting at least a couple of the green lights. But if some of your performers maybe don't have a big voice or it's set too low, this would be the button to adjust it. And so, but before I make any adjustments, I'm going to hit the select button. And when I hit the select button, the screen is all about, so hopefully you can see it. Get this out of the way. I know you probably can't see it because I'm not good at making videos, but down here, the bottom line of the screen, it says gain, and when I hit the down and up arrow, you can see that number change. So it's +9, +8, +7. I'm going down, and it can go down into, you know, below 0. But the thing is, you wanna tweak it so that when your performer's talking into the microphone, that you get a couple of check 1, 2, like a couple of green LEDs. Okay, that would be good. The important thing is that you don't go into the OL overload because that would make distortion. Okay, so we talked about the audio aspect of these units. Now this, the LEDs on the left, they correlate to the RF, the little radio signal, which is the carrier of it. So if I shut my unit off, you see there's no RF. I turn it on and it shows RF. Now this signal strength, if I disconnect the antenna here, you see it's going to go down. And the reason it gets some at all is because I'm very close. I mean, here's the antennas right here. I'm very close. That's why it's getting some. I'll put the antenna back on. Now, I don't think you're going to have an issue with this because you're not, these units are not, these little transmitters are not going to be this close to the unit. But if you are going into overload on the RF, I'll show you how to fix that. So here we have a menu, and I'll hit enter, and I can scroll down to whatever I want to work on. Let's not mess with these guys. So I'm going to push enter while it's on radio. Enter. And don't mess with other stuff you don't need to mess with, or you're really going to hurt yourself. But RF stands for radio frequency, so I'm going to go down to RF. And this is where I can tweak the output of the radio signal. Remember, this is not how loud anything is. This is the receivability of the radio signal. So it's at 1 milliwatt. I can increase that. Oops. When I'm on that, I have to push enter. So I'm tweaking that. Okay, so it's at 1 milliwatt, 10 milliwatts. I am increasing it. If I go real high, this thing's going to be in the red. See, it's in the red. That's not good. That's too hot, especially if I get close to the antenna. Watch. Oh man, it's in the red. Okay, so. But you're not going to be that close to the antenna. And a good average unit typically is going to be at the 1 milliwatt. 10 milliwatts, 1 milliwatt. On the average, that should work just fine. Now, setting up what frequency the transmitters and the receivers are set to is a whole other subject, but each transmitter should be synced to only one receiver. You don't want to have a transmitter tuned to 2 receivers. That would really mess you up. So that's a whole other subject, and Shure makes it pretty easy how to scan. But anyways, to check which one is on which, you want the channel, the group and channel numbers to match the group and channel number on the screen. When you push select, it shows what that channel on the receiver is set to on the screen. And when you turn one of these on, I could see that it's responding here to my third one. The frequency in megahertz, which is the radio frequency, will match from here to here, and group and channel number will match. So you want to be sure of that there's no interference going on. Now, when we're looking at these little screens on the transmitter and the receiver unit, and I'm talking about group and channel numbers, it's important to note that we're not talking about your mixer channel numbers. These transmitters and receivers, like, it'll be operating on a frequency of 500 and something megahertz. Well, instead of saying 500 and something megahertz, we give them a channel number, and these channels are in groups. So there's a group number, and it'll have all these channels inside of it, and then there'll be another group number, and your whole rig should be operating within the same group. So just so you don't get confused between a channel number, which is an RF frequency, and a channel number that is a channel on your mixer.